On today's episode of Gamer Logic, we're talking about my limited run games customer service nightmare. Hello everyone, Mike Murtis, Gamer Logic here, and I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Today, I just want to say up front that I don't like doing videos where I have to go out and state my grievances about a company, but when I have such tremendous issues getting my issue resolved and I start looking out there and I see other people that have purchased items from a website are also having the same issue, then I think it's well worth to get out there, state your case, and show when a company just isn't doing things very well, especially when at its core the company is doing a great thing. And obviously, as you can tell from this title, I'm talking about limited run games. I've been a big supporter of limited run games for a long time now. I've picked up a bunch of special editions. I've picked up multiple products from them, anything from games, from vinyl records. I have a bunch of things on order from them that I will probably be getting throughout the rest of 2020, probably into 2021, depending on delays. But in essence, I love what limited run games does. You know, they take games that were only released in a digital format and then, actually make sure that they get a proper disc release or a Switch cart release, whatever it may be, which in its essence is awesome because there's so many digital games out there. And the last thing you want is for things to be delisted. But with that comes great responsibility. With great power becomes great responsibility. Limited Run started out as a very small company, and they have by far become a huge company in terms of what they're able to do. They've worked with Disney on stuff. They're re-releasing Star Wars games that have been out in the past, anywhere from the NES, Game Boy, Nintendo 64, you name it. They've reached out and have done some incredible stuff. Unfortunately, when it comes down to it, is that their customer service department and just their practices in general just really need to be looked at. So this is kind of a timeline of my horror story about two games that I wanted to pick up. I picked up a very cool special edition all the way back in November of 2019. This was for the Valhalla and Read Only Memories Switch special editions. That it was a dual pack. Basically, you got both games. The cases had a magnet that would interconnect. You got all these special items with it, posters, soundtracks, pins, you name it. It's just this overall beautiful looking package for two games that I particularly love. Valhalla I love, and Read Only Memories is like a modern day homage to Snatcher that I just absolutely love. So I had to have this. I had to pick it up. So it stated very well that this was not going to be available until next year when we ordered it, which was fine. So I went ahead and I placed the order in November of 2019. Now, fast forward to 2020 and holy hell, COVID strikes, and COVID is wreaking havoc everywhere, right? United States, obviously China, all over the world. And it is delaying things like crazy. So limited run games, they did well on this portion of this whole thing. And they said, hey, some of the items that we were putting together for this order for Valhalla and Read Only Memories is delayed because there's issues in China and we're waiting for stuff to ship, but it's just not happening right now because of COVID-19. Totally understand that, totally acceptable. Very cool for limited run to get out in the forefront and say, hey, there's issues here. So okay, the game is delayed, that's fine. So more months pass, and obviously the manufacturing happened for this game because on 6/6/2020, June 6 of 2020, I got a notification that my games had finally shipped. And I was like, oh man, awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting these special editions. Now, I have these in multiple platforms, multiple digital platforms, all sorts of stuff. So it's not like I can't play these games, but it's the whole concept of finally getting everything and having everything together, right? And I've waited a long time for this. So, I wait for it. Limited Run Games ships this out via UPS, and via UPS eventually hands it over to USPS for the United States Post Office, and it's actually the United States Post Office that delivers it. So, the day my game is supposed to get delivered, my games are supposed to get delivered on June 16th, 2020. I actually see that the item is out for delivery. And I'm excited. I'm waiting for my stuff. I see the mail truck go by. I was in my pool, right? So I'm like, cool. Everything's good to go there. I should get my games. I get out of the pool, and there's no games. I'm thinking, what happened? Separate truck? There's been so many delays with USPS and everything that maybe it's a separate truck that's bringing like these priority packages or whatever. So I wait, and I get an email that says that we attempted to deliver your package at 11:37 a.m. on June 16th, 2020, but could not access the delivery location. We will re-deliver on the next business day. Okay, that's weird. So I have an entire surveillance system hooked up in my house. I have cameras everywhere. I have Ring. I have all that stuff. I pulled up the time when the delivery was for this, and it was my mail guy while I was in the pool dropping off the mail. He never got out of his mail truck. He never attempted to slam the limited run packages into my mailbox. Nothing. So the fact that they could not access the delivery location was basically bullshit, right? So I'm wondering what the hell's going on. Maybe there was an issue. Maybe it couldn't get scanned. I don't know. So I wait a day, and mail comes, and it doesn't show up. And at this point, I'm like, something's wrong here. So I print everything. I print the UPS notification. I print the USPS notification, and I go to my local post office, and I show them. I'm like, this game was supposed to come like a while ago, and there was already some weirdness with the whole UPS thing where it was supposed to get to me, and now it's just not showing up at all. And it says that a delivery was attempted. I have the footage of the delivery guy not getting out of his truck. I didn't see him like even attempt to like scan anything or try to hide anything. He just put the mail in, took off, right? The post office tells me, sorry, we're having too many issues. We can't help you out right now. We don't have the game. It doesn't look like it was actually on the mail truck from what we can tell. We have no idea. Okay. So I go home, and I decide, this game is obviously not coming. So after 3 days, I contact Limited Run support, orders at limitedrungames.com on the 19th, and it took a couple days for the reply. I didn't get a reply until the 23rd, and basically the statement I got was, we're sorry your game didn't arrive, and here's the general rules for what Limited Run Games does for package replacement. And this is kind of verbatim, and I'm not putting the support service people's names in here because I just don't want to do that. It's not right to them. I didn't ask for permission to do so, but I'm just going to take their statements here. So we're going to keep the people who contacted me anonymous on this whole thing. So the response was, we do consider packages as lost in transit 2 weeks out from the last tracking update without a recorded delivery. Just send us an update if you do not receive that shipment in that time frame and what your preference is for resolution, refund, or replacement, and we'll get that taken care of. We do consider packages as lost in transit 2 weeks from the last tracking update without a recorded delivery. So, they've made that statement twice in the email, which, okay, cool. I get it. Stuff eventually shows up. So I tell them thank you, and I wait my 2 weeks. And at this point, I know my game's not going to show up, but I'm playing by the rules here, folks. I'm just going to wait my time, and I'll get this eventually. So I wait my 2 weeks, and on 6/29, the game hasn't showed up, so I send a response that I didn't get my games. And I got a response on the same day, which was awesome. And I get an email that just kind of sets me off like right away. And the response was, "My apologies. We've had to extend the lost in transit window to 3 weeks due to across-the-board delays that everyone is seeing with USPS. There's been a substantial number of cases where we aren't seeing tracking, or USPS is reporting they can't locate the shipment, a replacement is sent, and then the original is getting delivered in the next couple of days." Okay, so my background is an IT background, and I also come from a help desk background as well. I manage a help desk, I manage infrastructure. That's my main gig, right? I follow the ITIL rules with stuff, and that is how you should keep track of your incidents and your issues. And I think Limited Run really needs to focus on this and make this a reality for their ticketing system and how they support their customers. Just really quick, that system, the ITIL system is incident, service request, and a problem. Like a service request is like, I want a new printer, or I need a new mouse. Like that's just a basic example. An incident is like Outlook crashed on my computer and I can't get email, and every time I click on it, it won't open. That's an incident, right? And then there's a problem, which, okay, we lost the ability to connect to the internet out at the office. And that's because someone cut the fiber optics down the street. And now nobody can get online, and people are submitting these incident tickets that say, you know, I can't get on this, I can't access this. Well, that's all related to a problem, right? When you have a problem, the typical sense is that it's a known issue, and you inform your customers, your users outright that, hey, due to this, X, Y, and Z is happening. You can't get to this, there's been a delay, etc., etc., etc. Now, in my mind, as a customer, to submit an issue that I haven't got my games yet, that I've spent $100+ on, I waited the 2 weeks, and then you're going to turn around and tell me, oops, sorry, 3 weeks, that is really poor customer service, extremely poor customer service. If they were following the ITIL process that most companies follow when it comes to a ticketing system, then this issue with all of these people sending out requests for replacements should have been linked to a problem. And that problem is, hey, USPS is reporting that they can't find shipments, and we're seeing a delay with packages actually getting delivered. When that was a known problem, anyone who had service requests that were affected by delay, or even everyone that is in the Limited Run Games database, should have been sent a communication that says, hey, USPS is having some issues here, and in order to make sure that you're serviced as our customer and that we are protected so we don't keep sending out replacements, our shipment window, our normal replacement window, has been extended 1 more week, 3 weeks total. If that would have came out, if I would have been even individually informed by that, I wouldn't have been as pissed off. But at this point, I'm pretty frustrated. So I basically write them back and say, you know, okay, I wait another week, but if this is happening to so many of your customers and stuff's getting lost and then replacements are getting shipped out and people have too, like, how do I know I'm going to get my games? Are you guys still going to have these replacement available to me? Because you're Limited Run Games, right? You only make so many of these. And, you know, what's to stop you guys from basically telling me after the next week happens that, oops, just kidding, now it's 4 weeks. So, you know, I asked that question, and the response was that, well, all our customers are being held to the same date, and, you know, we'll go from there. Well, that's not really an answer to my question. Like, yeah, I get all your customers are being held to the same date. You should have informed that to start with. But you didn't really answer my question on what's preventing you guys from extending this out to infinity, just to like hold off until like, okay, I you know, I guess you got to get your games. So, you know, it is what it is. I wait another week. So no package on July 7th. I send an email that I didn't get it. And I just responded to the ticket email. Again, orders@limitedrungames.com. And I get this automated reply that confuses the hell out of me. It says, important. If you would like support, please submit a ticket on our support site. And it gives the support address. Please do not create another ticket if you've already contacted us. Here's the last sentence that I went, what the hell is going on here? We will no longer be checking messages here, so do not reply to this message. Thank you for contacting Limited Run Games. What do you mean you're no longer checking messages here? Like, again, should have communicated that out. Why is this message showing up? Is my message even going to the queue anymore? Okay, I guess I'm going to log into the Limited Run Games Fresh Desk and submit a ticket. You can't. I tried logging in with it, with my email address. Don't get anything. It's a separate login from your Limited Games login, it looks like. I did a forgot password, didn't get anything. So I tried a new account. I tried a separate email address. Same thing. It would always tell me, you're not authorized to submit tickets to the system. Okay, so now at this point, I'm not getting a response to my email ticket. I'm being told that messages are not being checked on the support email address, and I still don't have my games, right? Now I'm really mad. So at this point, I'm like, I'm done screwing around with these guys. I'm going to put in a PayPal complaint, and I'm going to at least get my money back. So I go to PayPal, and I go to the user resolution, problem resolution, whatever it's called, and I find my transaction, thank God, all the way back from November. And I put in there that I haven't got my games and I just want a refund. And I'm really, really, really sad about getting an update or a refund at this point, right? Because I really wanted these games, and I thought, well, maybe if I got my money back, I could just go out, someone on eBay selling them, right? I go to eBay, and these things are going for like $200, $300 separate, not even together for these special editions. So there goes that idea. So I'm like, I guess this is time to cut my losses, right? So I submit the PayPal thing, and PayPal says, sometimes it's best to get in touch with the company or the user that you're buying the item from before you actually file a PayPal complaint. And it had an email address on there for a user, who to contact for any disputes. And it was like a Ben at Limited Run Games. So I sent Ben an email before I decided to go through with the PayPal complaint. Because I thought, I'm assuming who's ever getting these is probably a little higher up the food chain, right? Because the last thing they want to deal with is a ton of PayPal disputes, because they can get shut down for that, right? So I just said, hey, Ben, I know I just said I wasn't going to use names and everything, but this isn't publicly really out there, so it is what it is. But I just said, hey, Ben, sorry to be a pain in the butt. I'm just slightly confused. I was replying back and forth and sent an update to your support tech that my games have still not arrived. When I did so, I got an email that said we will no longer be checking messages here, so please don't reply to this message. I'm not sure if my message was received or not. Maybe the rep didn't have an opportunity to reply yet, but I didn't want to open up another support ticket per request of the auto reply I received. I apologize if I'm not just being patient. I'm just looking to get a resolution, as it's been 3 weeks after the last tracking notification and I'm still without my games. I never got a reply from Ben. So eventually, I do get a response. I get a response on 7/10, so July 10th at this point, that from the original rep that says, hey, they're reassigning my ticket for another rep for a lost in transit case. Okay, thank God, someone got my message. We're finally getting this moved over. So I wait, and that was on 7/10. On 7/14, so it took 4 days to get a response from the new rep, and I'm told that I could potentially, not guaranteed, I could potentially get a replacement in 3 to 5 days, and they'll let me know what the status of my replacement is at that point. So I wait past the 5 business days, and on 7/22, I don't hear anything. So I email the new support rep back, and I get that wonderful message that says, you know, we don't check messages here anymore. Don't open another ticket, blah, 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 blah. I figure at this point I got a response. So I think the new rep is going to get my message. So the next day I do, 7:23, I get a response that basically says, you know, we're sorry we didn't get back to you due to high ticket volumes. My update was delayed, but my new games have been passed along to the shipping department and they're going to go out on Friday, 7:24. So I respond, thank you. And the new tech responds that he's closing the ticket. And again, my issue hasn't been resolved yet. Until that game is in my damn hands, that ticket is not resolved, okay? But he basically says he's going to close the ticket. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, granted, he said, if there's an issue, reply back to the email. It'll open the ticket back up. But the game is supposed to ship Friday. I'm thinking, oh my God, finally, I'm done with this, right? So Monday comes. I don't get the notification that my games have shipped. So I send another email. And the rep says he checked. The order's still sitting in the warehouse. Okay. So finally, I get my shipping notification on Tuesday. And I pray to the shipping gods, and I sacrifice a lamb, and I do all this other stuff. And finally, after many weeks, at least like 5 to 6 weeks of constant babysitting, constant following up from my end to the limited run games, that I finally get my special editions here. Valhalla Read-Only Memories is finally here. August 1st, I finally got my games. These are beautiful, beautiful special editions. They rock. I'm happy to have them in my collection. I'm happy to have the physical versions of these games in my collection. But I basically had to pay over $100 just to get my foot in the door to get these games. And then when it came time for replacement, I had to scratch and beg and crawl and scream and constantly babysit limited run games to get my replacements. Replacements that, I was seeing games on store shelves. I went to some retro stores and actually saw copies of both these games again for hundreds of more dollars than they were. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to get my replacements. In my mind, that's a nightmare. And, doing a little research on limited run games, I am not the only one that is experiencing this. People are very frustrated with companies. Some of them refuse to even buy things from limited run outright, which again is a shame, because at the end of the day, there is some great stuff available at limited run games that you can pick up. But if limited run games does not work on their customer service and they don't work on their practices, then word's going to start getting around that their service isn't up to snuff, and all these companies that provide them these great items that they can sell to people are going to vanish, and someone else is going to pick up the slack. So very unfortunate. Again, I'm finally happy that I got my games, but it felt like a mountain to climb. So have you guys ever interacted with limited run games before? Have you had issues? I mean, up to this point, my experience with limited run games was pretty positive, except for this point. And let me tell you, like I said at the beginning of this video, I have so many things on pre-order from them that I just hope my experience isn't the same. And granted, I understand we're going through a global pandemic right now. Things have to be very different. But at the forefront of any situation, you need to be transparent to your customers. And that's not happening right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my limited run games horror story. But at the end of the day, I did get my stuff. It's a hell of a battle, but I did get my stuff. Thanks for watching.